Rated M for mature.
Don't let your kids watch it!
To be continued. Now? Shion needs friends. She said she had friends. Oh, hey.
圭一さんのドスケベぶりには呆れましたよ。
Hey, girls. Oh, yeah. Oh, they look derpy. I like Rena in the OG art style. Rika, for some reason, I don't like when she's wearing this dress in the OG art style. And Satoko just looks like little weird, very blocky fists. Honestly, I like console here. Let's go.
男の子なら仕方がないのですよ。みーちゃんもしーちゃんもケイチくん困ってるよ。
What is going on here? Oh.
ですってよ、お姉。
Wait, huh? I don't remember this scene.
大岡越前じゃあるまいし、このままケイちゃんが引きちぎれるまで引っ張りっこします。引っ張りっこなんかしてないよ。シオンが引っ張らなければ済むことでしょ。
What is going on here? Glad to see you, normal Satoko. Yeah, when she's not traumatized, it's great. What are you doing? And Keiichi's like, I'm done with life. And then over here, Keiichi's like in pain, and Mion's like, don't make me use my gun. I have a gun here. Oh man, it's kind of weird how, like, yeah, you can definitely tell they're the same characters, but they look so different. Oh man, I definitely, when I started Higurashi, I was full remake art style, but now I feel like I might like the console version better. It really just depends on the sprites.
シオンは沖宮に帰れ。はい、了解。そうしますね。パッと。
I like how Keiichi suddenly, so he and Sis flew off like a rubber band. Keiichi rolled on the ground while Sis was stuck in a bush head first. What a lively people.
じゃあケイちゃん、これ以上からかうとお姉に噛みつかれかねないので、今日はこれで帰りますね。
This did not happen in chapter 2.
あ、シオン。そのさ、今日はありがとな。
But there's a couple of characters that I really like in the remake art style. Uisi is by far the most important one, along with Toмотake and Coach.
ああ、あんなのお安いご用です。あの程度で恩が着せられるならいくらでもってくらいに。
Also,
じゃあまたな。
Rena, when
シオン
she's going crazy, is way better in the remake art style. She's terrifying there. Whereas in the console art style, she looks like she's hypnotized, but in the remake, she looks psychotic. His hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly, but the warmth reminded me, you've got a problem, Shion.
じゃあすみませんね。今日は失礼します。またね、お姉。二度と来るなー。レナは紹介。サトコはトラ。リカちゃんは塩巻いて。
All right then. The warmth remained on my top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I had to stop. I got off my moped and pushed the aching spot against the telephone pole. You have a moped? You're turning into Kyo now. I'm sorry, Satoshi-kun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I never forgot about you. I still remember you. I'm worthless without you. I can't stand life without you because it's gray and cold and boring. It's true. It's true. I can never smile because you aren't here. I can't.
じゃあまたな、シオン。
Keiichi's face appeared in my mind. I recalled the touch of his hand stroking my head. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy. It was rough and painful. I hate that insensitive guy. He's too childish, rude, and cold. He's like a stray dog. I wasn't happy. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy or overjoyed at all. Oh, boy. Yikes. Yikes. We're watching a mental breakdown in real time. Satoshi-kun mumbled. He didn't know what to say in a situation like this. Are you hallucinating him right now? But he knew that he had better say something. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. So he just mumbled. I'm sorry, Shion. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi-kun? I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I said I'd wait for you. Even though I believed my heart wouldn't change. My heart is full of holes. You're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart, little by little. You're leaking out from me. Are you suffering because I'm here? Why? You're so precious to me. So don't say that. I've been here with you all this time. But I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. I don't want that. That's not true. No, no, no! Where have you been, Satoshi-kun? You weren't with me. Tell me where you are. What's the address? What's the postal code? What's the name of the city? What's the street number? Tell me. There isn't an address. I knew it. Telling me you're always with me, always by my side. That's such a cliche. Which do you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'll stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, I'll disappear right away.
そんなこと
She's
言わないでよ
nuts!
一緒がいい一緒がいいよ
We couldn't see the gradual transition from Shion being somewhat normal to going completely nuts. It was just like, nope, now she's nuts.
サトシ君といつまでも一緒がいい
Okay, I'll stay with you then. A car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. I should go home to Okinomiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi-kun? I walked back to my moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike. But then I heard an extra footstep. I gasped. I could feel somebody else's presence. It's happening again! I'm not stupid. Nobody else was around here. So nobody had suddenly appeared behind me. So I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But he was definitely still there.
サトシ君
It's the curse. I couldn't see him, but he was there. Oh. Ooh, I like the music. He was there for me. Satoshi-kun never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. I'd just been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. Did he say that? I don't remember him saying that.
サトシ君サトシ君
If there's one thing I have learned, it's that hearing extra footsteps or hearing things nobody else can hear is a sign that you're getting reptile eyes and going insane. A breeze tickled my hair. It felt cold, but to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took me a while to notice that my cheeks were wet with tears. Higurashi when they cry. You would believe this level of grief from somebody who you loved for a long time. Yes. But Satoshi for most of the story didn't even know Shion existed. Yeah, and she also didn't know he existed, except for like 2 weeks. It seems like a lot. I was too scared to sleep. If I went to sleep, I might not find Satoshi-kun there in the morning. So I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him that I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looking into various different things. I'd gathered underground information for Kasai and bargained for police information with Uisi. But I couldn't find any leads. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Fair enough, Ruben. Yeah, Shion's upbringing does make it realistic that she'd latch on to somebody who showed her affection, but it still seemed very sudden, etc., etc. I told him all the small details for my daily life. The places I wanted to go with him, the things I wanted to do with him, the food I wanted to share with him, and I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first, but I got tired, so I lay down. I got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night I'd ever had. Yeah, Shion needs help. Almost every character in this story needs help. When I woke up, I didn't find Satoshi-kun by my side. I knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That was why I didn't want to go to sleep. But at least I got to see him for one night. No, you didn't, crazy person. Just when I'd resigned myself to that, I felt Satoshi-kun's presence again. It wasn't a dream after all. I thanked God. And so I began my strange life with Satoshi-kun. Oh, jeez. As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. He couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head. But he was always with me. Always right by my side. He disappeared sometimes, but he'd come back when I looked for him. It seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. Yeah! You also heard that in the torture room, and so did Tomatake, so there's some... I have no idea what's going on with that, why they're hearing extra things when they were going crazy, but this is weird. That's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint, so it was hard to sense him in a crowd. Shame it's the 80s, so mental health probably wouldn't be accepted. Yeah, well... Back in the day, therapy wasn't really a thing, and nowadays therapy is overblown. So, do you want one extreme or the other? But he never left me. If he were tangible, I'd be taking his hands all the time so that he wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were, because he was just a presence. Rena also said something about footsteps. Yeah, exactly. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. At first, I could only tell if he was laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I didn't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. He'd keep mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. I was sticking to my time alone with him, however, because I was scared that he might suddenly disappear again, and I wanted to make the most of the time I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun will always be by my side. Yeah, that was his promise. He never breaks his promises. I was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. I could try to explain it to them, but they'd never understand. Isolation. But I was certain. Certain that he was with me. So, I'd be alright. I never got fed up with my life with him. He's really cute, you know? We always walk together. But when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable. I love it. Jeez, she's crazy. Speaking of which, he looks terrible in the console art style. That's right. The adult characters, by and large, tend to look better in the console art style. Or the remake art style, my bad.
行って適当に遊ぶつもりです。お姉とその愉快な仲間たちでもからかうかな。
You gotta find better uses for your time than with your literal imaginary boyfriend and just teasing your sister. I wanted to go to the festival of Satoshi-kun. Too bad he's not here! There's so many jokes I could make, but you know what? I'll just refrain. I knew he liked to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan. But Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loved to see me and my friends have fun. So, I should have a lot of fun for his sake. Why would Satoshi-kun be with Shion instead of his sister if, for argument's sake, he was a spiritual presence? Well, surely, obviously, because he cares way more about the girl he knew for 2 weeks and actually thought it was somebody else rather than his little sister. Duh. I'd talk about the date with him later.
何でひなみ沢に行きますか? 車で行くならお送りしますよ。
スクーターで行くからいいや。
それはいけま
He's
せ
like,
ん。
I want to go to the festival too!
帰りに本家に寄られて、親類の宴会に加わられるんでしょ? 居眠り運転などさせられません。
Did you just assume I'm going to drink to inebriation? He won't let me drive, but he's kind enough to let me drink.
じゃ、お世話になりますか
I
ね。
feel like you got those mixed up, buddy. She's old enough to drive, she's not old enough to drink.
わかりました。では夕方に出発しましょう。そのくらいの頃にお迎えに参ります。
After Kasai left, I sensed that Satoshi-kun was excited about going to the festival.
綿流しか。サトシ君がいなくなっちゃってから、もうすぐ1年になるんだね。
Satoshi-kun seemed confused.
ムー。でしょ
Does Kasai know about your, situation, Shion? We laughed together. No, gosh, man, she's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
いらっしゃい。
Yeah!
はいよ、網とお椀。
よしやるぞ。金魚はみんな生きがいいね。実に美味しそう。この小さいのなんかそのままボリボリと生でいけちゃうよね。
Huh?
ミオンさんは何を言ってるんでございますの？みーちゃん食べてたの？
That's a little odd.
去年レナからもらったのも食べちゃったの？
Sorry, Rena, we didn't want to break it to you this way.
違う。私そんなこと言ってない。
Sis shook her head hard. She turned all red.
いやでも今実に美味しそうだって。
Ventriloquist!
確かに言いました。お姉って雑食ですから口に入れば何でも食べちゃうんです。
美味しいなら今度僕も試してみるのです。
Hey, Rika.
ダメだよリカちゃん、お腹壊しちゃうよ。
Don't be crazy.
ちょっと待て。おいこら、お前いつの間にいるんだよ。シオン。
はーい、ケイちゃんにお姉にみんなこんばんは。
You're not supposed to be here!
あんたどこから湧いてきたのシオン。焼きそば屋さんの時からずっとです。お姉たちは騒がしいからすぐに見つけられ
Chow
ました。
mein, let's go.
もうあんたは関係ないでしょ。早くどっか行きなさいよ。
No.
もうお姉もあまり私を邪険にしないでくださいね。ケイちゃん、私が一緒でもいいですよね。
I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. You're being weird! This is very odd, especially since you already have an imaginary boyfriend, and you know how much Mion likes him. Also, this is a family game. Ignore the fact that it's rated M for mature and has tons of violence and exceptionally dark stuff in it. We were going to have a ball. Yeah, deserved. Rika looks so depressed that Mion punched us. I went around the booths with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I didn't sense. I teased Kei-chan and Sis too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. It looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. You are... What? Ah! When I glanced around at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me to have fun without worrying about him. If he were tangible, I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. I bumped into somebody's shoulder. It was obviously my fault, so I apologized right away. As it turned out, it was somebody I knew. Takano? Hey! Best boys here. Let's go. Still ripped as always. Hey, buddy, watch out for your girlfriend tonight. She is definitely gonna try to murder you.
楽しんでるみたいね。こんばんは、シオンちゃん。月の綺麗な晩ね。
The moon does look lovely tonight.
あれ、すごいお久しぶりですね、高野さん。それから。
そうだね。挨拶、僕は富武。
Tobutake.
ミオンちゃんの双子の妹さんだって話は聞いてるよ。
よろしくです、富武さん。凄腕のカメラマンとのお噂だとか。ぜひ今度私も映してくださいね。
デビューを夢見て投稿を繰り返す素人だけど、
Well,
ね。
you're not an amateur at the gym. My gosh.
そんなことないわよ。二郎さんは上手よ。いろいろとね。
いやいや、まだまだ勉強が足りないよ。才能に恵まれない分を努力で補わないとね。
Ooh. They must have been in a relationship.
高野さんと富武さん、仲がよろしいようで。私はお邪魔ですかね。
あらあら、ご検察痛み入るけど、お気遣いは結構よ。それに高野なんて、なんだか他人行儀みたいな呼び方ね。
Did we ever return her notebooks?
昔みたいに。
Just realized.
って呼んでくれていい
She
の
let us borrow them, but then we didn't meet her again. Do we still have them?
やっぱり目上の人にファーストネーム呼びつけはちょっと気になるものでして。
I get that. Like, the moms that I knew when I was a kid, like growing up, like even though I'm like almost 30 now, if I meet them, I'm still calling them like Mrs. So-and-so rather than their first name. That's just weird to me. But if I meet a new person who's like way older than me, I would still call them by their first name.
まあその
It's just a matter of
気に
habit.
しないでください。
I smiled bashfully, and Takano-san smiled back eloquently. Oh, okay, okay, Shion did return them. Okay, okay. I'm just dumb.
あれから図書館には来ないのね。
That's because I don't live here.
研究の同志としてもっともっといろいろお話ししたかったのに。
まあ気が向いたらそのうちってことで。
研究の同志ってまさかシオンちゃんも興味があるのかい？そのこの村の昔話とかに。
Toмотake-san raised his eyebrows. As far as I knew, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hinamezawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival from ancient times, the cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that, and other legends of cruelty. It was nothing if not gory. That was where her main interests lay. So I didn't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms of the taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi festival, the dedication dance, was about to start. According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance where the shrine maiden tears open a futon mat represents gutting a living victim.
いよいよ始まりますね。そろそろ私も行くかな。
So,
高野さんたちも見に行くんですよね。リカちゃまの儀式。
interesting. So Shion refers to her as Rika Chama, not Rika Sama, which a lot of the other, or Rika Chan. Huh. Interesting.
Hmm?
Is that like a hybrid of the two?
うん。
Takano, did you rope somebody into your obsessions? No, she legitimately found one person just doing a lot of research. Are we gonna get told about the curse again? Probably. Toмотake-san looked bewildered. Did that mean he wasn't coming? Takano-san giggled, then whispered into my ear.
実はね、これから最具殿の中に入ってみ
This
よ
is
うと
what
思
they
う
did in
の。
Chapter 2.
え？
She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but it wouldn't be amusing to anyone who knew what the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is a sort of treasure house belonging to the Furude Shrine. I heard that the Oyashiro-sama's sacred treasures were stored in there. Only people from the Furude family and selected members of the other two free families were allowed to enter. Kind of, it's a diminutive version of Sama, so it's respectful and cute at the same time. Okay, so it is kind of a hybrid. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be desecrated. Everybody in Hinamezawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids. But the storehouse was always tightly locked. You couldn't just peek into it either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they'd learn to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself, since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. You saw a frog in the background? Congratulations. Nothing good can come from breaking the rules. Were they still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that?
でも確かものすごい厳重な鍵がかかってたと思いましたよ。
去年まではね、前の缶抜きじゃ重すぎて大変だとリカちゃんが言ったらしいの。
Why would she do that, by the way?
それで今年からものすごく安っぽい南京錠に変わったの。
Why was it just last year? I guess that was the first year she had to open it when her parents were gone.
知ってた？
Whoops.
い
I think
い
we
え
knew that.
知りません。でも安っぽいと言ったって錠前がかかってますよ。
次郎さんね、とても器用なの。
Is that why you're dating him just because he's a locksmith?
ピッキングですか？
Also, don't look so sinister here, Takano. Come on.
綿流しの儀式が始まれば全員が儀式に集まるでしょ。西宮殿の周りには人影は
Look
全
at the
く
frog there. Yeah, I see the frog there. I thought you meant a frog on the ritual shrine scene.
今夜が一番の資格なの。
Personally, I definitely want to win Gun 3 or the tank. It's incredible that they both have those as prizes. Hey, wait a second. They have a gun as a prize, but why did they have to censor Mion's gun? Ooh.
東大元暮らしとでも言うのかしらね。
According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in the ritual storehouse.
よかったら後でこっそりいらっしゃいな。二度とないチャンスよ。じゃあよかったら後でね。
高野さん、 何の内緒話だい？
女同士の内緒話よ。
Uh-huh.
行きましょう。暗くて人気のないところへ。
Did she tell him, hey, let's break into the ritual storehouse and make out? It'll be hot? Is that why he's willing to do it? No. Takano-san walked against the flow of the crowd alongside Tomotage-san. The ritual storehouse, huh? It was supposed to be filled with torture tools. Considering what they had in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki house, that's quite possible. Satoshi-kun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was the sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was the sacrifice to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. That's what Takano-san said last year. It was just her hypothesis. It should have been me, not him! At present, I wanted to deny her hypothesis because I wanted to believe that Satoshi-kun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the Free Families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onigofuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. So what if? What if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements? Maybe it was filled with broken palanquins or freshly painted signposts for the festival. What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi-kun was sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there, it didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back.
サトシ君、どうしよう。
Since most people went to see Rikachama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. You could just take gun number 3. Did he go somewhere, or was I not paying enough attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling any emotions in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with him. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I've been avoiding the truth because I was afraid he might be dead. I was gonna make a joke about Shion being a third wheel here, but considering what happens to Tomotage tonight, maybe it's good if she does go with him. But now I had a chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. You didn't care about this at all until she mentioned it. On the way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down, trying to see Rikachama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him alone, we could split the guilt. Oyashiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted a partner in crime. Since the boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse, maybe Mion's love should disappear this year. Bro, that's why you did it?! You are the worst!
何考えてんだ私。
That must have been the demon inside me. I shook the thought out of my head.
どうしたんだよ、シオン。
Hey bro, what's up? Hey, you're looking pretty smug there. Let's go OG Keiichi.
それより、奉納演舞がよく見えるとこってまだ遠いのか？
え？奉納演舞がよく見えるなんて誰が言いました？
We made it to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomotage-san picking the lock. She is, isn't she, Shirley? She is a female dog. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted that we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomotage-san joined in. That's because he seems like he has a head on his shoulder. It was completely dark inside, so Takano-san lit a battery-powered lantern. A small entry space appeared before us.
真っ暗だね。みんな転ばないように気をつけるんだよ。
I think this was the CG upcoming that we first saw Keiichi in the vest. Where the one that had like Takano with holding the lantern with the creepy smile on her face, with Shion and Keiichi kind of freaking out in the background.
ご心配ありがとう。じゃあ門番をよろしくね。ここ閉めるわよ。
Takano-san closed the door with a smile, as if leaving Tomotage-san out on purpose.
やれやれ。じゃあみんなゆっくり楽しんでおいで。
I thought he went inside with us. Because didn't he comment like he could hear someone jumping up and down in here along with Shion? As soon as the heavy doors closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano-san's lantern.
大丈夫よ。予備電池も入ってるアウトドア仕様なんだから。消えたりなんかしないわよ。
Takano-san teased Keiichi a little. Keiichi, in turn, looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building, even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa.
さあ、入りましょう。よいしょっと。
After Takano-san opened the heavy inner door, a dusty, foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years and the smell of a fish market mixed together. I didn't know exactly how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. From listening to the echo of our footsteps, I could tell that this room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano-san raised her lantern, I could clearly see just how big it was. At the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance, and it scared me.
あれがひなみ沢の守り神お社様よ。
This is weird. It's like a carbon copy of the torture bunker that Shion's family has. I looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. Is it that weird guy to her direct left? If Satoshi-kun's disappearance really was a curse, I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down at me. Damn you, Oyashiro-sama! If you really made Satoshi-kun disappear, I'll never forgive you. Never. Keiichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took out her scrapbooks to show him the brutal history of ancient Hinamizawa. I'd heard that story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Yay, we don't have to listen to it again. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out at me, I still found them intimidating. Ooh. That bass line. They looked as if they were craving for flesh blood, after not having been used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. If those tools were the progenies of the torture implements, these would be their ancestors. All of the implements looked old. I doubted they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones at the Sonozaki house. So did that mean that they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary. They told me that the cruel rituals were indeed performed in this village at one point. Now that I found scary. What Takano-san told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me, one step later. I felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but I had no idea how he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. If he could answer me, I'd want to ask him, who demoned you away?
ね、サトシ君、聞いてる？
I couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left as if he didn't hear anything. I could tell that he'd been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. I realized that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. It was a clean altar. An altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, the flowers in this vase weren't wilting. I saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. It looked out of place among anything else. I was fairly certain it was Rika Furide's handkerchief. That would mean that this storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't a forgotten ruin buried in dust. So, the brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oyashiro-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I had accused Oyashiro-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun. But Oyashiro-sama is just a statue made of bronze or wood. It's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. This series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is the result of human action. It shouldn't be called Oyashiro-sama's curse. If Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim, then he was victimized by a human who is just acting the part of the curse. The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not be very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like somebody had dropped something. I looked over at Takano-san and Keiichi. Hello! Takano, why do you have that face on you? Is this her creepy face? Oh yeah, sure enough it is. Oh, Keiichi looks so sad here, and she's like, yeah, that's right. And then they ate the other people and gobbled up their entrails and drifted them down the river. He's just like, I just wanted to watch Rika dance. Why am I here? Oh, so should I tell you my theories about how they tore out the person's entrails? No! Shion, where are you? Dear Lord. This is crazy. Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump. Thump, thump, thump. The sound came from right behind me, not from them. I'd never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It sounded like somebody was stomping on the floor in frustration. Yeah, she mentioned she was hearing stomping, and so did Tomitake. What is it? The sound continued, ignoring my question. Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor somewhere distant.
どうしたのサトシ君。何か怒ってるの？
I couldn't read his expression. I thought he must be mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. It's not that I'd been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. I just talked to him. I was never expecting him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. Then a chill ran up my spine. I felt as if all my pores were opening. I'd been thinking that it was Satoshi-kun stomping on the floor. Hey. You. You're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? The sound stopped when I asked that. It wasn't a yes or no. Just silence. Satoshi-kun wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi-kun. A cold shiver shot through my feet, and I sprung a step backward. The sound had come from right there. Even though I jumped back, I was still just a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if that wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I'd hear his footsteps. So, that invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes, and I just wouldn't see it? I forgot everything and ran, straining my ears as much as possible from any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning to look back. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. But seeing that chilling dark stillness, realizing I was just in that space, made me even more frightened now.
どうしたよ、シオン。ひょっとして怖くなった？
Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he'd looked horrified just a little while ago, he now looked satisfied to see me scared too.
お化け屋敷で女の子がしがみついてくるのはデフォじゃないですか。まんざらでもないくせに。ほらほら、行きましょう。高野さんに置いてかれます。
I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I would be able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern as if they couldn't go into the light. The presence never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition. But neither Takano-san nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. Yeah, if he could hear it, he would have said something. So, just like with Satoshi-kun, only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Was it Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it possible that the presence I believed to be Satoshi-kun might not have been him at all? Epilepsy warning. What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me if I did something wrong. I'll apologize. If you aren't Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place? He was never there. Shion.
シオン、大丈夫か？
She is not alright in many ways.
はい、全然平気ですよ。それよりケイちゃんこそ顔面蒼白でかなりヤバげかと。
なら、あまり俺の服を引っ張りすぎないでくれると嬉しいんだけどな。
This is the only orange tank top I own.
あ、こりゃ失礼です。
あらあら、私はお邪魔かしら？
I decided to engage in the conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. I didn't hear the sound as much, and it became a bit more distant. Yeah, I shouldn't pay attention to it. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the noise.
で、高野さんはその風習が実は現代にも残っているんじゃないかと思って研究をしてるんです。そうでしたよね。
これ本当に内緒なんだからね。シオンちゃんは理解のある人だから話したけど、他の村人には聞かれたくないの。下手をしたら罰当たり者ってことで袋叩き
Are
に
you
されかね
revealing
な
your
んだから。
plan to kill your boyfriend? She smiled at me like a witch.
前原くんも内緒にしてね。知られたら私お社様のたたりに遭うか 生贄にされちゃうかするかもしれ
You're
ない。
saying this to intentionally freak us out because you're going to fake your own death.
たたりなら今年はどんな死に方をさせられちゃうのかしら。生贄なら鬼ヶ淵の沼に生きたまま沈められちゃうのかしら。そういえば今夜よね、お社様のたたりがある夜は。
It certainly is. If the curse strikes for a fifth time, it'll happen tonight. Takano-san pulled out an old scrapbook from her paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. It was the article about the brutal murder of a Watanagashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era.
これは実際にあったお話よ。明治の終わり頃にね、鬼ヶ淵村で身元不明の惨殺死体が発見されたんですって。
It's getting more intense.
かくも無残かつ残虐非道を。
Hey, you guys seriously don't hear that? It's freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Oh, hell, it's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. And the next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. We turned around in surprise. Oh, yeah, you don't look that great in the console art style. Yeah! Get that muscle definition. It was just Tomitake-san opening the door.
驚かせちゃったかな。
あら、二郎さんも見たくて我慢できなくなったかし
Well,
ら。
because we know she's gonna fake her death to, like, pretend to be part of the curse. So, of course, she isn't bothered by it.
ここ素敵な拷問道具の宝庫
She
よ。
weird, man.
僕は遠慮させてもらうよ。生来ね、こういうのは苦手なんだ。
Takano-san laughed as if making fun of Tomitake-san for being such a scaredy cat.
それより、演舞とセレモニーが終わって、みんな沢の方に降りていったよ。あと何分もしないうちにお祭りは終わっちゃう。
Time was up. I'd never expected that Tomitake-san would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic. He is a hero.
ケイチ君も出るかい？
もう十分に見ましたので。シオン、もういいだろ。出ようぜ。綺麗な空気が吸いたいよ。
同感です。出ましょう。
I went into the entry room and turned around. Takano-san was taking photos in a mad rush, though our time was up. I didn't hear that sound anymore. I didn't feel that presence. I didn't feel Satoshi-kun either. But somehow I wasn't too sad about that. Even if he followed me out here, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. Is this where we're gonna get the... No, this is where we get the to be continued. I thought Tomitake was gonna be like, oh yeah, I heard that, and it would be, what? And we'd have a monologue, but okay, cool. End of chapter 9, probably. Yes! New tips acquired. Defilers broke into a forbidden place, and we get a hoe as the photo. But not like a hoe as in a person, but as in like someone used to plow the soil. But it looked sinister. Alright, notebook page 172. Oh! Oh yeah, we have seen this before. This underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. So do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? According to Takano-san's theory, bloody rituals, including Watanagashi, have been passed down among the three families even after the Meiji era. The rituals are always ready to be performed. Their form of worship always revolved around torture. So Hinamizawa's history involved a great deal of human slaughter. Takano-san's theory is correct. The underground storehouse of the Sonozaki house looked well maintained. Takano-san is right about that too. Since the Sonozaki family and the Furide family both have ritual storehouses, the Kimiyoshi family must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with that knowledge of that occult activities and events are still secretly being performed in this cursed village. The sanctity of the ritual storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of Oyashiro-sama. Of course, I knew that since I'm originally from Hinamizawa. But violating that sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Takano-san's research shows that the history of the ritual storehouse goes way back. The ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it was strictly forbidden to enter. Takano-san's theory says that Watanagashi is once a public execution, performed to stabilize the reign of the three families, rather than a purely religious ritual. If so, the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implements should have been despised as symbols of hatred and fear. When instruments of fear are too visible, it only creates a reign of terror. But keep them as hidden as possible and they gain divinity. Many said that they would become tainted if the laymen touched them. The only reason for that was to preserve the false prestige through secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if it was revealed to before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse's sacredness was fear. That was the true emotion ruling over this village. The reason why Takano-san and Tomitake-san were cursed is because they broke into the ritual storehouse. I don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there's an anti-theft alarm. Either way, our intrusion must have been reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano-san's body was found, she must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. It's possible that the special assassination team exists for this purpose, or that the plan had been set up a long time ago. They might have been secret agents of the Sonozaki family, but the latter sounds more valid. Or secret agents but the latter sounds more valid? Yeah, okay. But if so, who would have been the victim if nobody broke into the ritual storehouse? Fair point. Alright, well, I was going to try to go through to the end of Chapter 10. That did not happen, because those were long chapters. Normally the chapters are only about an hour each, but these were like an hour and a half today. So, we're going to have to end the stream there, and we'll be continuing this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, tune in for that. Should be fairly interesting. We are now more than halfway through the chapter, officially. So, thanks for tuning in and chatting, everybody. This has been fun, as always. Wish you all a great rest of your night, and God bless everybody.